So what do a cursed diamond, a giant mechanical tiger, and a brilliant mercenary queen all have in common? Seriously, think about it for a second. How do they all connect to one of the most gripping, dramatic, and literally world-changing power shifts in human history? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolute chaos and fascination of India's 18th century transition. But we're not just going to sit here rattling off dates and battles. Oh no. We're exploring this massive, sweeping historical shift through the incredible artifacts and the larger-than-life figures it left behind. It's one of the most gripping stories in the world, and we're going to bring it to life today. Here's our roadmap. We'll start with the fall of the Mughals, then dive into the big debate. Was it a dark age or a regional boom? Next, we'll meet India's Christian queen, check out Tipu's legendary mechanical tiger, dig into the Kohinoor diamond controversy, and finally wrap up with the legacy of this entire transition. Let's get into it. Starting with Section 1, the fall of the Mughals and the collapse of an empire. Imagine an absolute global superpower just disintegrating. For a long time, the Mughal Empire was an unmatched powerhouse of territory, wealth, and military might. But then, things started to fracture, and they fractured fast. After Emperor Aurangzeb died in 1707, a toxic mix of religious bigotry against Hindus, totally incapable successors, and devastating foreign invasions basically shattered their authority. By 1738, Nader Shah of Iran invades Delhi and just loots its immense wealth. And as that central power vanished, local banking firms, these guys known as portfolio capitalists, stepped in around 1750 to control the land revenues. This massive financial shift? Well, it basically rolled out the red carpet for the British East India Company to become the ultimate superpower by the early 1800s. Which brings us to Section 2, Dark Age or Regional Boom, the great historical debate. So this macro-level collapse sparks a huge debate among historians about what this era was actually like for the people living through it. On one side, you've got the Dark Age theory, led by historians like Jaidunath Sarkar. They argue the 18th century was pure chaos, political turmoil, economic ruin, just total lawlessness as Delhi fell apart. But flip the coin, and you have the revisionist view. Historians like C.A. Bailey argue, wait a minute, this wasn't a dark age at all. It was a regional boom. Sure, the center collapsed, but local leaders, zamindars, and mercantile capitalists actually thrived and gained massive autonomy. Academics point out that the real decline was mostly isolated to Delhi and the areas still under strict Mughal control. Meanwhile, if you look at regions like Awadh and the Punjab, they were seeing explosive economic independence and commercialization. It was actually a time of dynamic regional growth that just so happened to perfectly coincide with an imperial collapse. Kind of wild, right? Moving on to Section 3, India's only Christian queen, the amazing story of Begum Samru. If you want to see this regional boom theory in action, you have to look at the staggering rise of Begum Samru. Talk about defying the odds. She was born in the early 18th century and went from being a penniless orphan in Delhi, trained as a courtesan, to becoming a highly respected, fiercely powerful mercenary military commander. She literally carved out her own domain in Sardana, Uttar Pradesh, right in the middle of this power vacuum. Her troops were famously disciplined. At the Battle of Vasai in 1803, fighting alongside the Marathas against the British, her army was literally the only contingent that didn't scatter. They made an incredibly orderly retreat. And she was sharp too. Recognizing the shifting power dynamics, she eventually allied with the British. General Lake was actually so impressed during peace talks that he gave her a kiss, which completely scandalized her troops. But she quickly smoothed it over, explaining it away as just a fatherly kiss. But she wasn't just a warrior, she was a visionary builder. In 1781, she converted to Catholicism, took the name Joanna Nobilis Sombre, and effectively became India's first and only native Catholic ruler. She went on to commission this incredibly stunning basilica in Sardana that cost a mind-blowing 4 lakh rupees. Designed by an Italian military engineer, it's this brilliant fusion of Italianate and Islamic styles. Think Mughal-inspired minarets paired with a dome inspired by St. Peter's in Rome. And it still stands today, a total testament to her incredible regional power. All right, Section 4, Tipu's mechanical tiger and technology as resistance. Shifting gears to the south of India, we see resistance to colonizers expressed in a completely different, highly technological, and frankly visceral way.
Tipu Sultan of Mysore was a fierce ruler, and he used the tiger as his personal emblem. It was on his weapons, his uniforms, his palaces. And around 1795, he commissioned this unbelievable wooden automaton. Now, an automaton is basically a moving, mechanical device built to imitate a living being. But this wasn't just some cool toy. This was a physical, mechanical manifestation of his absolute hatred for the British East India Company.
The device depicts a near-life-size wooden tiger actively mauling a European soldier. It is intense. But the real genius, and the horror, was in the mechanics. It actually featured a hidden 18-note pipe organ inside. So when someone turned a handle, the internal gears made the soldier's arm wave frantically in the air, while the organ pumped out these terrifying, blood-curdling mechanical wails from the man, mixed with deep, guttural grunts from the tiger. When British East India Company troops finally stormed Tipu's capital of Seringapatam in 1799, Tipu was killed, and this astonishing artifact was discovered in his summer palace. It was promptly looted as part of a highly organized prize fund and shipped all the way back to London. Initially, they were going to put it in the Tower of London, but by 1808, it was exhibited to the public, and to this day, it remains a massively popular attraction at the Victoria and Albert Museum. Let's move to Section 5, the Koh-i-Noor controversy, tracing a diamond's journey. This brings us to our final artifact, a legendary diamond whose journey perfectly maps the violent, turbulent transfer of power across entire empires. I'm talking about the Koh-i-Noor. The name literally translates to Mountain of Light in Persian, and weighing in at a massive 105.6 carats, it is one of the largest cut diamonds in the world. But trust me, the weight of its historical legend and controversy far, far exceeds its physical mass. Tracing its path is like looking at a literal map of conquest. We know for a fact it was originally embedded in the dazzling Mughal peacock throne. Then, when Nader Shah of Iran invaded in 1738, he looted the throne. There's even a legend that he swapped turbans with the Mughal emperor just to get his hands on the hidden diamond. From Iran, it passed to the Afghan Durrani Empire, then was taken by the Sikh Empire in Lahore. Finally, in 1849, a 9-year-old Maharaja, Dalip Singh, surrendered it to the British, where it became a prized possession of Queen Victoria. Now, because of this long, incredibly bloody history of conquest, the diamond is highly contested today. India has been demanding its return ever since gaining independence in 1947. Pakistan points to the gem's historical connection to Lahore. The Taliban in Afghanistan even requested its return in 2000. Meanwhile, the UK government firmly rejects all of these claims, insisting the gem was obtained legally under the terms of the 1849 Last Treaty of Lahore. It's a massive, ongoing debate. And then, of course, there's the famous curse. You might have heard the rumors that the Koh-i-Noor brings immense misfortune to any male who wears it. Interestingly enough, the British royal family seems to take this pretty seriously. Ever since the diamond arrived in the UK, it has only ever been set in the crowns of queens, most recently passing through the crowns of Queen Alexandra, Queen Mary, and the Queen Mother. Finally, Section 6, Legacy of a Transition, and looking at these artifacts as metaphors. When we pull back and look at the macro history of this era, we realize these aren't just fascinating, shiny objects or clever wooden toys. They serve as tangible visual metaphors. They chart exactly how a shattered Indian empire, and the regional powers like Begum Samru and Tipu Sultan, who rose from its ashes, saw their immense wealth, technology, and autonomy slowly absorbed by British imperialism. The movement of that diamond and the journey of that mechanical tiger literally trace the shifting center of global power. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder as you explore this history further. When we look at items like Tipu's tiger in a London museum or the Koh-i-Noor locked away in the Tower of London, are these objects rightfully preserved global heritage, obtained through the standard treaties of their time? Or are they the stolen relics of a fallen empire? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and always keep questioning the history behind the artifacts.